Greetings, my noble knights, it is I, Blaze Templar, and we're here with the Week 4 analysis. I wish it was the Week 4 analysis. It's actually the Week 3 analysis. So, whoops. You know what? We're keeping that in there because it's so obviously wrong that it's kind of funny. So, we're going to keep that in there. Anyway, another kind of explosive week. Maybe not quite as explosive as last week where we had two 6-0s in a row, but we did have a 5-0 and a 6-0, so definitely not anything to underestimate when it comes to, you know, the explosive play, shall we say. Swannas versus Starmies and the Mespritz versus Walrens were the two games of note, and actually there is another important note with the Walrens game, but we'll get into that in just a moment. And I just want to look at a couple of plays. Scarf Jinx is a possibility, but I think right now Jinx just naturally outspeeds. So yeah, definitely not Scarf Jinx. It is Sash Jinx, which makes sense. Plasma Fist was not a bad play. Gets the crit. Unfortunately, that Sash keeps it alive. And +2 Shadow Ball, definitely a threat. Decides he's going to save it, though, as the Flame Charge is fired off. Which makes sense. Flame Charge actually isn't a bad move, but Detect, I'd recommend Protect. Overall does a little better. Anyway, in comes Honchkrow, going to dodge the Earthquake. And in comes Reginald Steel, who can deal with the Shadow Ball just fine. Substitute, another good play for the Steel type. Unfortunately for Magmar, Flame Charge will not break the sub. You're going to have to take two. And that's unfortunate. This is the problem with running kind of the low fire attack. It doesn't do all that much damage. And it looks like that's gonna put the... Oh, okay, ouch. I guess he forgot that the sub couldn't, or would block the the Will-O-Wisp, but you know, things happen. Anyway, another Toxic is fired off, which makes sense. And at this point, the Magician's Red just wants to get as much damage off before it goes down. Definitely understandable. Does get the burn off on the Florges. I do like the fact that they actually show now their names, but unfortunately, Honchkrow really not that threatening against Florges when you're running special. So there is that. But anyway, in comes Starmie, the Highway Starmies. Gonna get rid of those rocks. Definitely understandable. Gonna get rid of the burn. So, all in all, not bad for them. Psyshock is actually a pretty good move against Florges, as it does have pretty low physical bulk, but on the other hand, Psyshock doesn't really do well against a Dark type. Speaking of Dark types, the Fool's going to get poisoned. That is unfortunate, and so you can kind of see this where this game is going, and that pretty much was the sweep, excluding for Stinky here, who just poison jabs for the win. So that's basically all that game had to offer, unfortunately. I'm sorry to see that, Paladin, but maybe next week I can help you team build, give you some ideas. I don't know. I'd have to look and see if I have any other requirements. I am not against helping teams team build, unless, of course, they're going up against each other. I am trying to keep that as neutral as possible. Hey, I'm running as commissioner, so gotta stay above in some ways and make it so it's not, you know, a problem. Anyway, the last game that I wanted to mention this week, just because it was kind of the shutout, was the Walreins and Mespritz. Mespritz are on this side with the Tangela, while the Walreins are with the Ferrothorn. So let's go ahead and get into this one. Throw, please. I mean, good luck. That's kind of funny. Anyway, the Thunder actually not only hits, but gets the turn 1 paralysis, which is really unfortunate, as Ferrothorn just goes for the Stealth Rock. I mean, it would make sense that Raichu would want to switch, except this is a bold Raichu. Crunch is going to do a lot of damage, but that Thunder is really leaving a mark, which I guess makes sense. He does have Rain going. Focus Sash is going to keep the Pavilion alive, which is good, but Raichu did so much damage there. Very, very impressive stuff. Anyway, in comes Politoed, getting his Rain up. Definitely makes sense there, but Fake Out's going to do a nice Chunklet, and High Jump Kick should take it out no problem. Yeah. This does make it kind of threatening, but Mega Swampert does have the Rain now. You can Mega and go for whatever it feels like and do at least a little damage. And Manaphy does resist that well, so it's going to take that okay. And now it can just, you know, Hydration Recover Stall, which is definitely not something the Swampert wanted to see. So in comes Kingdra, gonna get hit by the Energy Ball for okay-ish damage. Not great, but okay-ish. As it just decides to Dragon Dance. That is definitely unfortunate, but that's a Z Devastating Drake. Also not going to kill, which is, again, kind of nuts. But, hey, that is actually the forfeit right there. And that actually leads us to the other important note that I wanted to cover this week. Unfortunately, the Walreins coach, Dice Taco, decided he was going to move on to new things. So we had to find a new coach, and we do now have one, and that is Logi Pro. So I'm looking forward to seeing what Logi Pro can do with his new team, and yeah. That is definitely going to be something of interest. Otherwise, other games of note was the Solrocks fell to the Furrets, and the two teams that have been doing so well, the Mesprits and the Ludicolos, or the Lombres, both won their games. Although, actually, I do actually want to cover the Chandelure versus Lombre game real quick, because this one was of note. Delta went ahead, led with the Gallade. Actually, huge threat. Megas, and meaning Thunderbolt's not going to take it out. Drain Punch will. And at the beginning of the game, I really did look at it going, okay, I think Delta might actually have this from the get-go. Just playing really well. Taking the Z move with a Pokemon that actually can take it. Healing off that damage. And just overall doing quite well. So, looking at it, I'd say right now it kind of looks like it's Delta's game. And it continued to look so for quite a while. This play was a little bit of a problem, but he did survive, and that does help. He can go for Hurricane, which that's kind of Tornadus' thing. It's Hurricane spam. Escavalier is going to come in. Definitely a big threat to the team. Ironhead, not the perfect play, but definitely not a bad one either. Earth Power, and this is where the game kind of turned around, where he made a bunch of switches that were definitely problematic. I know he wanted to save his Druddigon, but he just kind of let himself take way too much damage here, and that is huge. Unfortunately huge, I mean. Gallade taking the -1 to speed, also problematic. In comes the Tapu Koko. Definitely also a problem. But even with the set of misplays, he does start to come back a little bit, and it does help quite a bit there. Anyway, Brighton Rock, able to go for that Thunderbolt. It's resisted on Druddigon. Unfortunately, Sludge Wave is not. Druddigon goes down. So, not entirely a bad situation for Delta. It's not good. Don't mistake me there. But here is actually a crucial play. I believe it's this turn right here, where after he takes out the Nidoqueen, he has a couple different options as the Tapu Koko comes in. Now, he has one Pokemon that can still take electric moves, and he can stall out with that and Toxic. So if he goes into the right Pokemon here, he could still win the game. So in comes Tapu Koko. He needs Tornadus for the Taurus. So this is the play that I was talking about. He switched directly into Comfey, and that means he's not going to be able to take the Thunderbolt, and it's going to go down. If he had instead gone into Escavalier, let it go down, and then gone into Comfey and healed, he could have stalled out and won right there. Would it have been an easy game? No. but he had the possibility to turn it around right there. A little unfortunate he wasn't able to, but it was a really well played game on Delta's part, and honestly, probably one of the closest things that the Lombres have had to a huge threat thus far. Let's see. Crowbats actually did really well against the Lombres too, so not entirely the case. Unfortunately, Crowbats fell to the Beach Rolls 0-2 this week, so there are those. Unfortunately, unless I go ahead and watch all the games all the way through again, as memory's not playing the best at the moment, I would not be able to tell you which was the MVP. Coaches, if you watch these videos, go ahead and leave what you think are the MVPs in the comments below, because, hey, you guys are the ones playing it, and maybe you know who your MVP was for each game. So, you know, I don't think that's a bad idea this week. And next week, hopefully, I'll be able to just sit back, watch all the replays, and then do the video. So that will give me a little bit more insight into those games and the real MVPs. So there you have it. I think I've covered everything I need to thus far. See you in week 4. Goodbye.